Cooking with Lauren.
Okay, so today I'm going to try and make a bit of a broccoli pasta with, it's not going to end up being a cream sauce because I don't have any flour. So, butter, milk, some seasoning sauce. I'm not sure what it's going to end up being. We're going to see. So, I have in a small saucepan 2 tablespoons of butter just melting. And when I'm making something that I need to really mix together, I like to use this little whisk thing that my mother used to have when I would cook with her from the Pampered Chef. So I just took the pan off, or the lid off that pan. So I have a pan of water here too, because I heard it start to make noise, and so that makes me think that it is thinking about starting to boil. So a lot of times with boiling, I just go off of the way things sound for the most part. Sometimes I can see the boiling, but most of the time I just go by the way it sounds. And so I know, because I've used this spaghetti at home before, that it takes 9 to 11 minutes. But again, if I didn't know, I could take a picture or ask someone sighted, or even sometimes you can look it up online, which is what I do a lot of the time. Once the water starts boiling, add my pasta. And I have the oven, or the burner that my small saucepan is on low, pretty much as low as it goes. And then the burner with the about to boil water is on high. So since I know that water is about to boil, I'm not going to add the milk to the melting butter right now, because I don't want to have to worry about 2 different things at once. But I am going to just keep stirring that to make sure it keeps going. And over here, I can feel the steam coming off of the water, and I can hear it starting to make a little bit of a bubbling noise, but not much. So I imagine it's about to start to boil. And then when filling the pan with water, I stick my finger in and then just stop when I feel it about halfway. So I figured while that was starting to boil, I grabbed the strainer that my roommate and I use, and I'm going to put that in the sink, just so I'm ready. And then check the water. Or the butter, make sure it won't stick, it's butter, but I'd actually turn that burner off because I'm taking a while longer. This water's taking longer than I thought it would to start to boil. So I'll admit, I don't always wait until it's a rumbling boil to put pasta or food in, but that's just me. Oh, I dropped noodles on the dog. She believe it. So I just tend to grab some in my hand and guesstimate that might be enough. Did you leave the noodles? Thank you. Good girl. Okay. So I can hear the water boiling. It's not a big rumbling boil, but there's definitely bubbles popping. So I'm going to go ahead and break the spaghetti and then put it in. I'm going to grab the IKEA spaghetti stirrer and just kind of push the noodles down into the pan. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this back on low, the burner with the saucepan, and I'm going to take my phone, and I am going to go into clock. Oh, sorry.
Alarm. Tab. 2 of 5. Bedtime. Tab. 3 of 5. Timer. Tab.
Go into the timer.
3 minutes. Correct. 4 minutes. 5 minutes. 6 minutes. 7 minutes. 8 minutes. 9 minutes.
and go for 10 minutes because I like my pasta a little more done.
Start. Button. Pause.
And now my timer is running. Looks like I spilled some water. Give the pasta a little bit of a stir. And then I'm going to grab the half and half from the fridge and just put a splash of it into the butter on the stove. And then I'm also going to add to the noodles some broccoli, just right out of the freezer. I could cook it separately, but since we're just going for whatever tonight, I'm not going to. Okay. I'm not sure how much broccoli that was, to be honest, but it felt like I was feeling it from the outside of the bowl, or the bag if you couldn't tell. To see how much I had put in. And since I put that cold broccoli into this water, the water is no longer boiling. And so even though I set the timer, I will probably just go off of what the pasta feels like. So I totally forgot about this sitting here. I'm going to give our attempt at a sauce a stir. I'm going to get out the actual milk, and add some milk because the half and half is quite, I didn't add much. There we go. So it's 2 tablespoons of butter, a bit of half and half, something, smells like it's burning, but I'm guessing it was just me from knocking the water over the side. So I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit more on the burner with the saucepan since I added the cold milk. And I'm also going to put in, I'll pour in my hand first and then into the pot, salt. I poured it in my hand because I can feel it. A little bit of pepper. And then quite a bit.
One notification. 6:59 p.m. One notification.
Sorry about that. Throw in some garlic salt. Stir that up. Give this a stir. Gonna grab a spoon and try the sauce. Yep, garlic and butter, what I wanted. So, that's stirring. Okay, and so while both of these things are doing their thing, I'm going to show you the strainer that my roommate has, which is pretty amazing. Since I'm walking away from that, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So my roommate has this strainer. My roommate is also blind, and it takes up, I'd say, at least half of our kitchen sink. And so what's really nice about this is, oh, as I knock it in the sink, you can pull the arms out to make it longer, I just haven't yet, is that you don't have to worry about holding a strainer in place in the bottom of the sink. You can just pour right in. And so I wanted to tell you that now, so I didn't have to worry about saying it while I was moving hot liquids. This is stir. And so this isn't probably going to thicken up. I might let it get kind of warm and see. But since I don't have flour, I need to buy some. I don't imagine it's going to get very thick. Okay, so that's probably going to be it for now. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video after I show you Miss Sheba. Hello, Sheba. You're always helping in the kitchen. And then I'll start it up again when I either strain the things or I might add some cheese to the sauce. Okay. So I was standing here and my sauce is still pretty thin. because I don't have flour, and I might have put way too much salt in it. So I'm gonna try and put a little bit of cream cheese in it, like you would do. I guess some people put cream cheese in their lasagna. I don't know. It could be totally dumb, but I'm gonna go for it. So I just took a little bit of a spoon or a forkful of cream cheese out of the container and put it in the pan. I imagine it'll melt pretty fast because I have the heat turned up. I'm actually going to put a little bit more. That was probably, it was less than a tablespoon. I'm going to put that much in again. So I just know I'm over the pot because I do. But if I didn't, I would check by feeling. Put the cream cheese away. I now have, oh, I'm surprised. Sheba isn't right here with me. She gets her medications with cream cheese, and so she tends to be right there if I get the container out. So I honestly have no idea if that's going to be disgusting or if that was even a good idea. So you are here as video evidence to me figuring that out. Okay. Stir the noodles. Oh, okay. So it's saying the noodles are done. My phone is going off. I'm gonna turn that off. I forgot to mention that cream cheese off this fork. I have the handles to the pans in a way that if I was to walk by the stove, because I'm standing very close, I won't knock them off. And if my roommate was to knock by, if she was home, she wasn't to knock them off. And then I kind of lean the tools either on the pans or I have a spoon rest. So I'm going to try these noodles. And they are not done to my standards because I like my noodles a little more cooked. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt to that pan. Just because, one, it'll keep the boiling going, and two, it will maybe, I don't know, make the broccoli a little less bland. No idea. So I'm going in and I'm going to set the timer 2 minutes and see how that does. Okay, so I'm going to turn the heat down on this and give it a stir. Ooh, that feels like it was very full. And so that I just felt, so it got pretty warm while I wasn't paying attention. And it began to foam up. And so that's why I check things so often, is because I can't see that foaming up. And so had I not gone to stir it right at that minute, it probably would have boiled over and I would have had a ginormous mess. So that's why I stir things so often. I mean, I don't think you can hear the sauce getting, as it kind of started to bubble. But that was definitely a mistake on my end. Okay, I like that. Might add a shake of pepper. So to tell my seasonings apart, for one, the salt and the pepper are in completely different containers. And is the meat seasoning I use, and so is the seasoning I sometimes put on fish. But like the pepper and the garlic salt are in the exact same container. I can see the colors of the containers to know which one is which when I get them very close to my face. I also always put them in the container that I store them in the same order, so that I know which one is which. So, I'm going to check that timer on my phone. Oh, stop. It went off right as I went to pick it up. So I'm going to drop the fork on the floor apparently, and then try buy a noodle. Whoa. So I can feel the weight of the noodle. Feel the weight of the noodles on here. I'm gonna have to get a new fork. I can feel the weight of the noodles and know that I got one. And that was raw cakes. I could see the green. There we go. I'm gonna go just a tiny bit longer. And continue to stir the sauce. One, so it doesn't separate, since I mean it's not really a fancy sauce, and so it will separate. And two, make sure it's not boiling over. I might add just a sprinkling of cheese to the sauce. I know where my cheese was because I put it in the fridge. I feel the amount I chose in my hands. I don't know, it was probably less than 1/4 of a cup and about a tablespoon between the two. So I did about 1/4 of a cup total. And give that a stir. Stir the other. Just don't want anything to stick. I don't know if you saw me there, I was checking my burner. Tonight I can see the burners without touching them. Or I mean, see some of the temperatures without touching it. So that's what I was doing quick. Okay, so those are done. I'm going to move you over here. Hopefully you can see. It'll probably fog over. Grab my pan. Tell Sheba to stay. And then find where it is. And just pour it in. Okay. Put that on a non-warm burner. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to mix it all together. So I got a bowl out. The corner of that in there. Pour it in. And I'm going to turn off the burner, stir one last time, and then grab the sauce. Find a bowl with my hand and pour it in. I don't know, kind of scrape it up a little bit. I'm sure if anything's stuck, it's stuck already. Put that back on the burner. Hopefully one that's not really hot. And then I'm going to get the thing we were using earlier to, when the spaghetti was in the pan. And I'm going to stir up what we got. And so it sounds pretty liquidy to me, which means I probably made too much sauce. But that's okay, because this was just an experiment. So, here is the finished product. I will go ahead and turn focus on so you can see. There it is.